Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, I guess it's safe to say that macro worked. Happy Wednesday. You guys are listening and or watching Pwnecast. This is episode 199. We are in patch 7.3.5. Well, guys, today is Valentine's Day, which means, you know, Rem and I have no lives, so doing the show tonight, not really that big of a deal because we're not really missing out on a whole lot of stuff there. But we are doing it on a special day to accommodate our guest and fellow PvPer. Well, when I say fellow, guys, you guys know I'm not on his level, but we do have Xaryu here. If you don't know who he is, then you should probably, 1411 that so you can get in the know. In honor of that, we are going to go ahead and make you guys our Valentine tonight. So everybody listening, watching, you guys are going to be our special cuddle buddies. Maybe I made it weird. Tonight, we're going to be talking about all the news from around Azeroth, which does include NA Cup 1 highlights. Get hyped because it was super exciting. And finally, we are going to be talking about the PvP portion of the Q&A that happened that I had been saving specifically for our special guest. And we even have a little bit of Void Elf lore from the lore master himself, Rem. We have that and much, much more, so make sure you guys stay right here.
You have crossed into the world of the dead in search of answers.
Amongst the Azeroth elite, there are those who defy convention, the proud who laugh in the face of trolls and never flinch, the few who strive on unity, trust, and unwavering resolve, they who eat tacos. For the players, by the players, we bring you She Can Start a Revolt with a Chaos Bolt, Bell the Pwnecast Vanguard. Through light and darkness, he commands the void, Remedies the Sage Lore Master. We bow to no one. We are Legion. We are Pwnecast.
Hey guys, this is Bajira, and you're listening to Pwnecast.
I just want to point out that all of my macros worked. Guys, the test was successful.
Can the stream hear?
Yeah, they can hear now.
Hi, stream.
Guys.
Oh, hi, guys.
Hey, guys, are you here?
Yeah, Xaryu's here, guys. I just want to point out, I don't know if anybody heard that amazing bumper, but, I'm pretty stoked about that. Welcome back. My name is Belle, if you are new to Pwnecast, and with me is my co-host with the loremost, Remedies. I made that weird. I'm trying to get better every week, but there's only so much that rhymes with co-host. And also,
that was pretty good.
Right? I thought that was good. And for tonight's guest, as I mentioned, it's one of my favorite people to talk about WoW PvP with because he's a rager just like me, and that's good business. But he is the Master Mage. Xaryu, yes, you're here.
Am I a Mage Master? I'm a Mage Noob, but thank you. Appreciate that.
I feel like you're a rogue, a warrior. Don't you play all the classes?
I play Rogue, Mage, Priest, the 3 classes that take the most skill, and then I dabble in some other newbie classes like Shaman and...
Hold on, did you say, when you say mages take the most skill, you're talking about the 4 buttons you have, right?
No. Rogue, Mage, and Priest have always taken the most skill. Every other class is newbie. Anyway.
That Priest as well. Wow.
Rogue, Mage, Priest, yeah, RMP.
Ugh.
Wait, what? Wait
Why is there no Warlock in there? That hurts my feelings.
Warlock isn't as bad as it gets, so you get a pass there.
You're about mid-range.
You're mid-range. It's embarrassing for your life. I was wondering if I don't know, did our tweet even go out, guys? Are we even on the internet?
I think we're on the internet. I tweeted that we were live, so I hope so.
I feel like I failed us in some point.
So you know how to use the Google on the internet.
I don't know. I thought our tweet went out. Maybe it didn't. I'm a little confused, but whatever. So, okay. Did it go out? Rem, can you double check?
We're professional. We swear.
Well, she's been learning how to do the tweets in the time frame. Something, question mark. Anyway, okay, let's move on. So, guys, it's going to be a little bit, since it's a little bit earlier in the week, this might feel a little bit awkward, but for Tuesday, February 20th, I think I have that right, the weekly event's going to be the Battleground bonus event. And the PvP Brawl is my favorite one of them all, which is Packed House 15 versus 15 Arena. Get in there, kill some stuff. Guys, that PvP Brawl takes 0 skill.
I love that one. As a Frost Mage or an Arcane Mage, I can pretty much kill everything if they stack.
Yeah, and there's no, I love that there isn't really any kind of skill or strategy, especially because it's, rando queues.
Yeah.
Because basically you just all hop together and you just...
You know, I have queued with my subs in like Discord where I'm like, all right, let's AoE grip everyone, get like tank DKs, AoE grip everyone. I'm going to orb Icy Veins and we just like one shot everyone in like 3 or 4 seconds. So I probably ruined the fun for everyone.
I don't know. That sounds like we should probably organize instead of... Yeah, I'll poker right now, Rem. I don't know why I said that out loud, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with our Twitter. Guys, we have somebody who does our Twitter, and I have no idea what's going on. So, with that being said, I like it because I feel like it depends if you go up against a ton of melee. It just really depends on, like, what the counter team is. If it's a ton of melee and you're sitting around with a ton of casters, like... Your shit's getting owned, and you know it's going to be a bad time, but it's going to be fun deaths. Like, you're going to feel good when you die because you're going to feel like you really, really pulled your weight to stay alive.
Yeah. For me, the brawls is like if I'm playing on my rogue or my shadow priest or something, I'm not having as much fun. But on my mage and I can just AoE everything, I'm having a ton of fun. So it's highly variable when I'm playing.
I wonder what that's like to be able to AoE everything effectively, because as a destruction warlock, while I do have great AoE, I don't really know that it's effective.
Mine is.
You're a priest. I don't even want to hear anything that comes out of your mouth in regards to PvP.
Well, priest is one of the skill classes, so
Oh.
guild player over there. At least he doesn't play warlock.
I hate
I
all
like
of
him.
you.
I'm
Right
kidding.
now. I hate all of you right now. Okay, so I'm trying to multitask, but I feel like I'm failing. EU Cup number 2. Remember, guys, we're in the spring season. That's going to be, I put Fed. That's going to be February 17th at 9 a.m. in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, where I will be sleeping at 9 in the morning because I'm not getting up to watch it. But I will catch like X amount of hours in, probably like 1 or 2 hours in.
I'll probably have it on because I'm usually up early.
Well, I always watch the VODs when I miss the beginning half of the stuff anyway.
Oh, wait. No, just kidding. I'm working this weekend.
I want to be sleeping during that time, but I feel like I'll have to catch it, so.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
It happened. The tweet happened.
The tweet went live. Oh, I was like, what?
We're okay. Oh, I'm dying right now. I love it. Guys, we're not professional when it comes to social media because I don't know how to do that stuff for our stuff. I can tweet myself and do all those things, and I even do stuff for Method, but when it comes to our own, I'm just completely not anywhere in the realm of smart.
I don't know. I like Twitter a lot because I get to see everyone that I love seeing on my feed.
It's better than Facebook, right? Because you get to isolate for your gameplay, right? Like, I don't want to see a ton of stuff, but I like to see, there's a ton of people that play World of Warcraft, and there's, you know, it's...
Yeah.
Twitter is my favorite social media by far.
I agree.
Yeah, you get to see people you don't even know about, too. Like, you don't even see...
Oh. There's always that one person that retweets the one person you don't follow, and you don't follow that person for a reason. And then there's always that one friend that you're cool with, but you don't want to unfollow because you feel bad, but they always retweet that person, and you just want to send them a DM and be like, look, I'm going to need you to stop, okay?
I've unfollowed someone before, and then I was like, oh, shouldn't have done that, because then they feel bad.
Yeah, because then
I know
you
what
feel,
you're saying there.
especially, like, I'm the type of person, if you unfollow me and I knew, like, we were cool, we had cool exchanges on Twitter, and it wasn't normal for you to unfollow me, I will call you out on
WTF.
Twitter. Yeah, like, I totally called out somebody on Twitter last week. I was like, fuck, I thought we were friends. He was like, oh, Twitter unfollowed you. Got it. It was Twitter.
Twitter. That's a good excuse.
Right.
I just noticed you guys are wearing matching shirts. Those are really cool.
Well, his is gray. I'm a
Okay,
little
almost
darker,
matching.
right?
No, it's just a cool design, though. I need one of those. Homecast.
I'm going to send you one, actually. That's a
Do
good
it.
idea.
I'll wear that.
Sending merch because you'd wear it. I love that. That's why me and you are friends. Also, guys, along with all this esports stuff that's just exploding all over the place, similar to a burrito, proving grounds for the Mythic Dungeon Invitational are beginning February 27th. That's going to be the first week, so you have that whole week. You're going to be dealing with Raging, Volcanic, and Tyrannical. Fun. And then March 6th is going to be the second week of those, and that's Teaming, Explosive, and Fortified. Yeah, none of that sounds fun. After
I'm
that...
so bad at Mythics, it's ridiculous.
I feel like I'm really...
I knew I heard a dryer.
No, but like, I feel like I'm really, really good at Mythics, and then I find out that I'm really not good at Mythics. But after the Proving Grounds, remember, guys, this year it's changed. They're not capping, anybody that can enter the Proving Grounds, where before there was a cap of how many teams can enter. So now, grab your friends, grab your horse, grab your Mom, like, get in there and get some of this money.
That was a weird selection of items, but okay.
Like, I feel like it was a good selection. And the second stage will be the time trials, which is kind of where they start to weed those out. So definitely get going there.
I'm glad they're ramping it up again. That was cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't really... Watching
I know it's not your get down, but the way people handle each obstacle is interesting.
I watched it because I wanted to give it the view, because I think when it comes to esports for World of Warcraft, it's important that you support it whether you watch it or not, because
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
like, you have to support it, and you have to, like, I tweet about it to just get people in there, even if it's not their thing, just so that it gives the view, because we need to continue to have these things, and if people aren't, you know, watching it. But, I mean, they did a good job. The casters, this was new to them. Nobody knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
How do you cast something?
I was really impressed by the MDI from last year.
Right.
It was the end of last year, right?
Yeah.
It was incredible. And I can't believe the amount of viewers and support it had. Like, I'm a little like jelly because I'm a PvPer and like the PvE aspect just did so well, but at the same time, it's like incredible for the game. So like, deep down, I'm really happy for it, but I'm like, I wish PvP had that kind of support too, you know?
It's coming though. I really do think it's coming. And we're going to actually talk about that, because I think there's a few things that have to be kind of in line when it comes to Blizzard and balancing and community. All that kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about later, which is cool. Guys, if you are leveling with the new scaling process and you're on Twitter bitching and you're bitching to your family because it's a tough life, look, it's going to get better. Rejoice. Dungeons, through the random queue process, have received an experience increase for those who prefer to dungeon versus questing. Or you can do, you know, both at the same time, whatever.
Yeah, they'll actually complement each other.
Yeah, but Blizzard specifically stated for people who like to dungeon versus questing. So my assumption is, I don't know what that looks like because this hotfix, it was for today.
Yeah, I deleted this morning.
I'm assuming it's pretty substantial if they're saying you can dungeon versus quest in order to be able to gain that, and I think that's pretty awesome. So, yeah, now if you're a healer, guys, go and do your dungeons where you're needed versus, you know, not needed questing and doing those kind of things.
Or a tank.
I haven't tried any of the new like leveling at all since the change. Have you guys, like, how is that? Like, tell me about it.
So I'm going to be really honest because, you know, I like to keep it real. If you have like a lot of time on your hands, it's super awesome. If you do not have a lot of time on your hands, which I know you don't, and dude, I have 5 kids and I do several things on the internet, so I don't have the time. It's great because when you are doing it, you're pretty engaged with what you're doing. It's not a face roll, so you can't just like blow through the content, which sometimes is not really fun. And you can finish whole zones versus having to, you know,
skip to the next one.
Yeah, right after the one dungeon, you have to remove 11 quests that you have and go to the next place. So it's nice for convenience sake, because I feel like you make up a lot of that time doing those little mundane things, but you're not going to do it quickly. I'm sure there's people that have discovered ways to efficiently and quickly do that. If you're questing with me, you're not going to get anywhere quickly because I squirrel, but...
You know, it's actually funny. When we were doing Project 60 and Project 70, we had to level 1 to 60, no heirlooms, just through questing, no dungeon finder or anything like that. And it was perfect for the, like, this was before the change.
Right.
And at the end of each zone, I took the next zone. As soon as I finished every quest, I was level 60. So the amount of experience was spot on without heirlooms. Now, heirlooms messes everything up to how you were saying. If you do a dungeon, then all of a sudden you have to just skip to the next zone or 2. So yeah, I like how they redid it because it's kind of
that's my favorite thing about this.
It's actually probably similar to what you experienced then, because they nerfed the secondary stats on the heirlooms. I think 60 and under, like at lower levels, and I think 60 is kind of when they consider everything to be low level, because the experience per level increases gradually until you hit 60, and then it stays the same until you get to 110. I think it might be pretty much what you experienced with that, because I couldn't overpull. I pulled 4 Murlocs and died twice as a Warlock, and I was irritated because I'm like, what do you mean I'm dying?
No,
but that's normal.
Cool, though. I like that a lot. Like when I was doing the Project 60, Project 70 stuff, it was the most fun I had in a while, but the pace is much different. Like you're going to have to really sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to quest for a few hours and get a couple levels, right? So,
you know, I think you would like this new system then, because I've done it in total about 8 hours across like 3 different tunes.
Yeah.
And for one tune, I've gotten 20 levels and about like 5 hours worth of gameplay.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a good pace, and I love leveling. I love the story, but the biggest problem for me was going into a dungeon and realizing, oh, I have to go all the way to Burning Steps now instead of where I was in Narathi. So it lets you actually experience the game.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely, you can't Netflix in game and watch only Netflix and not paying attention to your screen.
Which is how it should be.
I agree, because then what's the point? I mean, really, why are you paying $15 to play this game into level and you don't have to really do much and let the game pretty much do the work for you? So
it brings back the journey instead of getting to the end game to just to get the PvP gear or get into raiding ready. So I mean, like I said, it's just a good change overall.
I agree.
Look at you guys being agreeers. We're agreeing because we're not going to be agreeing later, and I know that because we talked about it already, so I'm stoked about that because everybody knows I love to argue. Also, really quickly, Lunar Festival, that's happening February 17th. It's going on till March 3rd. This is needed for what a long, strange trip it's been. Go get your dragon head, your dragon butt, your honor your elders. Isn't that Lunar Festival, or is that the wrong holiday? Don't you get, like, the dragon head costume and the dragon butt costume, and you, like...
Oh, I was...
What did you think I meant?
I thought you meant like a raid or something. It's like, where do you get a dragon butt? I was like, what the hell?
I think I know what you're talking about. I think that's right, but I'm not a huge festival guy. I play PvP. So.
Like, I wanted the Violet Proto Drake, so I did. Have you done What a Long Strange Trip?
I don't think so.
I feel like I have a challenge later for you to do that, actually.
I know what you're talking about.
Is it fun? Is it
good? It just requires doing certain things during these events, but you get the, it's a year-long thing, right? Because you have to do it for so many events, and you get the Violet Proto Drake, so the meta's long, but it's situationally long because it's only during those events.
Yeah.
I feel like
I know what you're talking about now. I was confused at first. That'd be hard for me to stick to it early.
I bet you could do it though, because you do your Monday Mount Farm. I've seen you.
It took me 6 years to get it.
Okay, it took me 3. It took me 3.
I could try to do it in one and have it this time next year, but that'd be brutal.
We're gonna put that on the to-do list to publicly challenge you, because I feel like if I do it publicly, like, you can't really say no, because it's like you got called out by a girl.
There is some made a PvP achievements for it, like you have to kill something as a turkey or something other. I mean,
Children's Week would be perfect for you because you have to take your orphan into Battlegrounds, and basically it's terrible parenting. You have to eat in front of your orphan. You have to take them into battle, and like,
I don't know. So I'm a mount collector farmer, sort of, kind of. So I do the ones where it's like rare drops. So when you get it, you're like, oh my god, and you get that rush of adrenaline. That's what I like.
Do you have Time Lost?
Yes.
Oh, fuck off. God.
Invincible, Mim's Head, Ashes of Alar, Time Lost, both of the ones from Molten Core, Karazhan one. I have like almost all of the rare drop ones.
I'll never forgive Frieza for making me miss Time Lost. So I've been camping Time Lost for a good 6 or 7 months, and he's like, hey, let's do some arena. This is probably Draenor, maybe End of Mist. And I'm like, okay, cool, but only like 1 or 2 games because I have a feeling like it's going to be any time. So we queue, we get out, and his dead body is literally right in front of me. I was so mad. He's like, hey, do you want to queue again, though? No, I don't want to queue again. I want to sulk. And
I mean, it's gone. Let's go.
All right, you're gonna hate me when I tell you how I got Time Lost.
You were just randomly in the zone, weren't you?
No, even worse. Oh, shit. All right, someone in trade chat was saying, want to sell Time Lost, 250K. And I was like, for sure, this is a scam. But I'm going to whisper him on board. I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, how does this work? Like, I'm thinking it's a scam. Like, do I have to give you the money first? And he's like, no, just come and kill Time Lost, then afterwards give me the money. And I'm like, what? No loss here. Like, I'll come and get it. The guy has Time Lost, AFK sitting there attacking him. I run up, grab the kill. Pay him I paid the 250K because I don't care. Like, it's just.
I would have paid that 250K without even a thought, right?
Oh, not even thinking. I was like, that's cheap. So I paid the 250K after, got my mount, and I flew away happy.
Why don't I ever run into those people that are like,
it was in trade chat at 4 a.m. What were you doing? Sleeping?
Yeah, but what extent was it then?
It was like a month ago.
Oh my god! 4 a.m. Got it. I'm writing. Hold on. I'm writing this down.
It was actually one of my viewers too. So if they have another one, it's like the 3rd or 4th one they've found. They just camp it all the time.
I'm like in shock. I'm gonna after show. You're gonna hook me up with your viewer, and I'm gonna pay your viewer all of the monies to
It was worth it.
Yeah, dude, a million gold is worth it in my opinion.
I wanted them out, and I was like, I could either spend multiple months farming it, or I could pay 250K. Yeah.
Because you can't do anything while you're camping. Like, it's not like it's in a convenient location. It's on a completely different continent than really current stuff if you're doing whatever. I can't. I'm so jealous.
250K is nothing, too, if you think about it. Like, if you buy the,
I'm trying not to
gold, what is that, 20 bucks or something of game time or whatever?
Honestly.
Yeah, the token's all like 180K.
Yeah.
Usually,
Well,
so.
Yeah, so not much.
That's like nothing, honestly. That's like what we just spent in GTA, because, you know, I had to buy all the shit because you have to have all that stuff. Anyway.
Whoa, that's a different game.
I know, I just realized that this is not stream and this is actually the show. We don't talk about other games on this show. Also, really quickly, guys, the Xaryu cultists, they're at it again, channeling their little hearts out in Broken Shore. I'm going to show you guys a nice little picture. So I want you guys to know you're going to be really impressed.
Remember, just because you're in a cult doesn't mean you have friends, guys.
Right.
Okay?
But I want you to know that I went in specifically for the purpose of doing math, right? So here I am. I don't know shit about math, but I'm calculating and I'm trying to figure shit out. So according to this, I wanted to double check Wowhead's numbers. Wowhead says about 2:45 a.m. According to my calculations, about 2 hours ago, it was, what did I say, Rem? 2:30 a.m. on March 7th. Mm-hmm. It's not a reset day because reset day is the day before. So initially, I thought it was going to be maybe the release of Seething Shore, right? Well, then when me and Rem were talking about it, Seething Shore is tied to information or storyline regarding the new expansion. And if, like, Xaryu, you probably went to, did you test Seething Shore in PTR or anything like that?
I actually have not. No, I've seen it played a little bit, but I haven't tested it myself.
So that story is basically Horde versus Alliance fighting for this Azurite, which is the story of BFA. So Rem kind of pointed out that I might be thinking it's that when really it's probably going to be a little bit farther out, like maybe a little bit closer to BFA. So Rem I think Rem's theory was more of the Syphilis. Fuck, I always say it. Fuck.
Silithus?
Silithus, thank you.
Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's Silithus, but I always say syphilis, and then I have to...
No one wants syphilis.
Shout out to Pleb Central, who edits my method videos and fixes my misspellings and mispronunciations and makes it look like I'm smart.
When I first started WoW, I thought it was Rogu instead of Rogue. I was 11 years old. I don't know. Rogues.
I'm playing a Rouge, I guess.
You were 11?
10 or 11, yeah, when I started.
You were just a little guy.
Yeah, I was.
Well, what are you, 12 now? Like, you look like...
I'm 24, actually.
Gosh, to be...
24. I'm old.
Really? Unless you have to buy... Listen, you're not old until you find yourself at that moment when you're on Amazon buying Rogaine, okay? Then you're old. Okay. That's a problem.
I'm not there yet. Almost. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I shaved my head last month.
Age and vanity used to be friends, and then when you hit a certain age and vanity, like... They're not enemies. Friends anymore. It just isn't. They're like at odds. They're mortal enemies.
Yeah, I'm only a year older than you, so you're...
We think it's artifact weapon related possibly. Now originally, which, sorry, this might be interesting to you, we know how the artifact weapon stuff, like how we're getting rid of it, or, you know, we've Wowhead's data mine that stuff. I didn't until yesterday because I was like trying to stay pure about it. But I guess when we go through this thing, it's logical to assume that we're going to keep the weapons for a while because apparently there's stuff that happens to the weapons when you go through the scenario. Mm-hmm. So we could be going through that because I thought, well, we wouldn't get rid of our weapons now. It's not close to the expansion, but I'm leaning more towards that.
Pre-patch before BFA will probably get rid of the weapons, get the necklace.
Yeah, but I think we might just be going through that Silithus story to talk about like what happens with our weapons and what I don't really know.
Yeah, at the
we'll
very
probably slowly release it.
Somebody said on the fucking thread, Classic server's gonna be released when they're done with their cast time.
That's like 2-3 years out, bro.
This is my face when somebody's Classic server. Anything Classic server, I'm just like,
oh, I'm speaking optimistically for the 2 to 3 years.
Like, yeah, I mean, they said it's going to be a while, but it just cracks me up the way. And then somebody's like, maybe it's another Alpha Wave invite. And I'm like, really? Really? Guys, I'm poking fun. And if you're one of those people that commented on that thread, although I'm sorry, I'm not going to really be sorry. I'm just saying I'm sorry so that you don't feel like I'm a jerk. And last on the news, the new mount that's available on the Blizzard store. Guys, I don't know how I feel about this mount. Here's a picture.
It's cute, kind of.
Shuzin, right? The Divine Sentinel. Now, this is a big, huge, fluffy doggo, right? He's $25. He can be yours. You could take him home and you can ride him. Now, what Blizzard stated was, as the Golden Lotus worked tirelessly to repair the Veil of Eternal Blossoms, a single statue came to life and wordlessly defended them from the Shah that assaulted them. Believed by some to be a sign of good fortune and others to be a gift from the light, Sujin provides faithful companionship to any that would defend Azeroth from the maddening whispers of the old gods. I just have one thing I want to say about that. Everybody I saw in this thread, when I looked at this, they were talking about, they're thinking that the maddening whispers, they're like, guys, this is proof. This is proof that we're going to be dealing with old gods in BFA. This is my theory. I just want to tell you that when you guys say that this is your theory about old gods in BFA, it's not really a theory, guys. It's pretty fucking well known by now. Like, old gods are going to be like all over the place because we've been dealing with these whispers from Il'gynoth and Ogmot's journal. Like, there's a gajillion things pointing to old gods. So your theory isn't really new. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware it's not a new theory. However, what I was thinking of, and I confirmed that with Rem last night, and I was really happy. So people are thinking that this is a Battle for Azeroth reference, but I don't know, Xaryu, what you went through in, like, if you did any, like, Siege of Orgrimmar content. Did you do that raid at all?
No, I was in arenas when that came
arenas.
out.
Well, I mean, that was
Yeah.
honestly, that was like the best time for PvP in my opinion, minus like older content, but from, you know, the past couple recent ones.
Was,
Well, destruction was also the top of the game. Like, no matter what we did, whether it was PvE or PvP, like, we were just kicking ass.
Then why are you still at the low tier?
How about you fuck off? Anyway, so I don't think that this was Blizzard's secret way of using this dog for you to buy to get you to think that it's about BFA for old gods. I honestly think that that reference is meaning Yasarj, because in Siege of Orgrimmar, when you fought Garrosh, one of the phases you go and you hear Yasarj, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, you hear his whispers.
Close enough.
And his whispers, he's like basically saying, you're never going to leave here, like, you're going to die here, old and alone. Like, and you go through several phases when you're in that Garrosh fight. And I think that that's what it's referencing, especially since if you go to Vale now, we still see lingerings of, you know, from Yasarj's presence, and we still see Shah lingerings. So, guys, I think you're looking for conspiracy theories where they are not, right?
Is that the Shadow Priest weapon when it whispers? Is that something different?
No, they're whispering about old god, like they're whispering old god stuff.
So
Look
yeah,
at
the-
you.
I know what you're talking about. Let's go.
Yeah, Zalatoth the dagger is an old god because he was consumed, but well, they
So
don't
he's
only
like
have a
older
gender.
than the older old gods, or he's
No,
the
he was one
oldest
of
of
the
the older
OG.
old gods.
He was one of the OG ones before the Titans even came to Azeroth.
Wow, that's old.
That's like super old. Like,
That's what a theory is based on what they say and what they speak on N'Zoth and the other old gods. But yeah, because the Shah is just the void. It's a form of the old gods' reach and power. So
see how smart he is, and I'm just sitting here like, eh.
Yeah, I'm probably more lost than you are. So
He's like the Johnny Mnemonic. I don't know if that's even the right word.
why do you even use
I don't
that?
know, because it's the only thing I can think of for smart people. I'm getting old, and with old age, you forget stuff. Okay, so we're going to talk about a ton of really good PvP stuff. But before, I always get excited when we have a PvPer on because Rem has these really good, like, mini things that he kind of hits you with knowledge, and then it makes you smarter. So
Okay.
he's going to be talking about the Void Elves, right? First for the allied races. So he's going to just give us, you know, a little bit of story, but this is where he makes us smarter. Like, we're going to be smart.
I'll listen. I'll
Yeah.
definitely listen.
We're going to be smart. Rem, I need you to make us better people.
Oh, that's gonna be hard.
I
But
knew you were
okay.
going to say that.
But so the Void Elves is one of the newest allied races, but it is very, very new in terms of the lore and the story. It is very what's the word? Kind of like a stepping stone into what is possible for future races. But so the basic rundown is after Ilaria and Locust Walker are dealing in Macquarie, and they are able to consume the Void God from the fallen Naru. It opens up the avenue for other elves to tap into the void, and they eventually go a little too far. And you have the Nightborn and the Void Elves scenarios run along the same timeline in terms of when they happen, and you see conflicts, not only conflicts, but hints of both of them in both the scenarios, and that kind of explains some of the stuff that you miss in the Void Elves. For instance, it starts out with Illyria letting us know there's these Silvermoon elves that are tapping in the void energy and are now cast out from Silvermoon, and she's on now a quest to go find them and bring them into her fold and let them know that she can teach them through her and Locust Walker, one of the ethereals.
This was after. Is this happening after? What did we go through on Argus, where she we went through a little scenario where she consumed? After that,
Argus. This is when Illidan is now the jailkeeper for Sargeras. This is after everything's back and settled. But so because she went to Silvermoon to try and go to the Sunwell and try and pay her respects and try and get Lothamar into the Alliance, because she knew that at one point they were trying to go to the Alliance, and they're brethren, they're the same people. And so we go with Illyria to the Ghostlands, pretty much where the Scar is, where the Scourge first hit Quel'Thalas. And so we're going from house to house trying to find, his name is Umbric. I'm pretty sure that's a reference to Umbra. It's like the dark shadow. I think it's German ? Don't quote me. But Umbric is leading these now Void Elves, and he is delving into the Void energy, and we find them in a Void Tear. So it's not the Twisting Nether, it is actually within the Void itself. And explain the Twisting Nether. Twisting Nether is a combination of light and void. It is when the light and the void first clashed, and it created this kind of like a schism where the demons were being created in there. So you have the Nathrazim, the Pit Lord guys, and all that good stuff. And so they're in the Void Tear. I think it's the Bolragus Rift or something other. But Illyria and the champion, us, comes into the Rift, and they are, I can't remember if they're casting something or what other, but there was an evil ethereal that pops in from a Void Rift, and he is consuming their life essence to gain their power. And he's saying stuff like, "Oh, just join us. We will give you unlimited power." Blah, blah, blah,
I'm in.
Blah.
Is that bad? Or
yes, because he wants you to pay with your life. He's not helping you cull the whispers. He's not helping you harness your power. It's more of just using you as a conduit to power himself.
But am I powerful for some time before I die? Because that's
I mean, it's like Surrender to Madness, the talent. You let the maddening whispers in so that you have all this power, but eventually it overwhelms you and makes you mad and you die.
They're changing that in the expansion, by the way.
Yes, they are. I'm happy about that. Come on, actually use it again.
I'm very happy about that because you can't use it in arena at all. It doesn't even let you talent it.
Nope. To go way off topic, but it drops you 90% of your health. The way you could possibly do is use Surrender to Madness, life swap with someone, and you're Gucci. So
can you do that in arena?
I don't think you can even talent it in arena. I
don't
think
not. Well, not now.
Choose it. Oh, in the expansion.
Maybe in BFA because they haven't really, because it's a new system with the pool of talents. But anyways, Illyria wants to help them silence the whispers. You can never really stop them, but you can kind of snuff them to a point where it's not driving you insane.
It's called medication, Rem.
Exactly. But Illyria and Locust Walker want to bring them into the fold and teach them and allow them to become more powerful, but not evil. And so that starts to pave the way for the Void Elves and what we can do with them. And
how about them racials though?
Yeah, so that's something I can definitely mention.
I was going to ask what you thought about what that looks like from a PvP perspective.
So from a PvP perspective, it's actually interesting. So human and orcs right now pretty much rule the game as far as racials. And the reason that is because every setup for most compositions, it revolves around stuns. So humans having an extra trinket is a huge deal because if you can only go for a kill for once every 30 seconds and you need a trinket to stop that kill from happening. Having a human trinket allows you to, trinket the first go, and then human trinket the second go, and then your partner trinkets the next go, and then you human trinket the next go. Basically, it gives you a constant rotation. Humans still by far the best choice.
Even with the changes that were made?
Yeah. Are you talking about in BFA, or are you talking about currently with Void Elves?
With the every man for himself, where it broke everything, where now it's just stuns.
If you're talking about currently, human is still by far the best. If you're Void Elf is like an okay second choice if you want to look cool, which I care about. So I'll probably go Void Elf on one of my mages because it looks awesome. I love like the hair and like, I don't know, Blood Elf's one of my favorites. So Void Elf's pretty cool. The knockback from stopping your cast isn't there anymore for Void Elf, which is a pretty big deal in PvP. Not a huge deal, but a pretty big deal. The teleportation, do you guys know how that works? With the racial, so you kind of like launch out the void bolt. If you run the opposite way or jump off a bridge and then you can pour back up, that's wonderful. And then the 5% damage and healing buff is there as well. So I think it's probably a great second choice to human. The human trinket to stop the go is still by far the best. And same thing with Orc, reducing that stun time is just still so powerful. So I'd still say Orcs and humans rule the game as far as PvP for classes that can choose Orc or human. All of the new ones just seem kind of eh. But the new dwarf that just got announced, the racial just got announced. You guys hear about that?
Yeah, the iron
Dark Iron Dwarves, yeah.
Dark Iron Dwarves, yeah.
The new racial for that seems very interesting.
And we haven't. I don't think we've heard of the racial for these Andalari trolls yet, right?
I haven't heard about it at least.
I don't think they've data mined it. And then of course, Ian let it slip about the Draenor Orc being a thing, so I wonder what that would look like racial-wise, especially given the fact that there's, I wonder how closely related it would be to...
It would actually be vastly different from the current Orcs in terms of story-wise, because the Orcs using their, Blood Fury for their racial, they don't have the demonic powers within them, they don't have the demon blood in them, so that probably wouldn't be a blood frenzy or anything power-related. It could be... like an overwhelm where you are able to stun someone or something other, but it wouldn't be similar to the current Orcs.
So they'd be the good guys, you're saying?
Yeah.
Because they didn't drink the blood?
Yeah, they were not
about the Orcs that stand straight up instead of the...
No, not just the one that stand up, just the...
They're the brown Orcs, right?
Brown Orcs.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did not drink the Kool-Aid.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't drink
which is interesting because... every Orc, whether they drink it or not, in that area was affected by it because of the demonic power and all that. Same thing with Broken. They, you have the Eridar, which willingly take in demonic blood and the power, and they change into they call them Eridar, but Eridar is the OG for Draenei. But
they look badass though.
They look badass, and they are able to fully harness their power, whereas the Broken, they are affected by fel energy, but because they didn't take it in willingly, it still affects their body and contorts them. So that's why I'm interested in how they're going to explain Mag'har and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, if they don't take it willingly, we just shove it on them. Like, isn't that the nature of life, right? No?
Struggle, snuggle, something like that.
I feel like maybe that might be a felony. I'm going to have to get with my legal department on that to find out if that's some type of illegal. So, guys, we talked a couple weeks ago, we talked a little bit about the dev Q&A, and I specifically stated that I was leaving out the PvP stuff that they made mention of, which, while they talked about a lot of PvP stuff, they did that thing where they didn't really tell you a whole lot of things, except maybe, we don't know, possibly it's still in the think tank, we're still working on it, but it's enough for us to have a conversation about. So, the first thing, which was the thing I was most excited about, is the possibility of the 6v6 RBGs.
Yes.
And I want to know, Xaryu, if you think the same thing I do, like in line of esports too, right? Like, potentially, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, so I think one of the challenges with 3v3 is it's very difficult to balance team deathmatch game type in any video game. So when we see League of Legends or we see any other popular esport kind of arise, it's always an objective-based game style. It's never team deathmatch, almost never team deathmatch. And if it is team deathmatch, that's like a side note to the main capture the flag or some type of objective. In World of Warcraft, I don't know why, but 3v3 arenas are the most popular form of player versus player, which doesn't make any sense really. So I would love to see objective-based gameplay come out in competitive play, like Warsong Gulch, capping a flag,
Agreed.
capping bases. The reason being is because it's so much easier to then balance the game because the game is focused on objective play or focusing on capturing a flag. Maybe class doesn't do as much pure damage, but it has some CC or it has a buff that is very important. Whereas in arenas, it's like if there's only 3 people, there's a combination that synergizes so well that it just kills everything else. And it's pretty much always been that way. So I would love to see objective-based gameplay come back in. I guess another side note to that is there was pretty much one 6v6 tournament in existence in World of Warcraft. I played in it and won and beat all of the PvP like arena players like Jamili, Peekaboo, Cubsy, all them.
Jamili's a chump anyway, but whatever. Personal opinion.
We crushed them with Team ABN, and the reason is because it's all about strategy, right? It's all about positioning, map rotation.
Strategy is hard compared to straight up damage versus damage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? You really need to be on your shit when it comes to strategy.
Well, the thing is, in arena, it's very micro, right? Oh, I'm gonna death the blind. I'm gonna trinket counterspell the polymorph. I'm gonna make this slight little play. In battlegrounds or in 6v6, it's very macro oriented. Like we are going to shift from lighthouse to mines or something like that. We're going to shift around the map. And when you get to more of that macro style, it's just so much more fun. The micro stuff matters. The plays matter, but it's more about the macro. And that's what is so fun to me. I would love 6v6 to come in. And specifically, I would love 6v6 solo queue to come in.
Listen, before you can make me rage about solo queue, I think that we are going to see some of the adaptations from the PvP brawls that I know they've been using as a testing ground for this. I think it's probably logical to assume that we might see some type of hybrid when it comes to these 6v6s in terms of esports. Maybe they're going to take some of the fun elements from, some of the PvP brawls now, like Arathi Blizzard I think would be super awesome in a 6v6 for tournament play. Not just because I couldn't find where the fuck Lumber Mill was because it was covered in snow. We're not going to talk about that, but I think we're probably going to see some type of hybrid stuff where they might be borrowing from the PvP brawls to, I would think, to mix it up. But honestly, above and beyond all that, I'm excited for a refreshing strategy from 10v10. It's so locked in for so many years. Like we already know when you're in Eye of the Storm and you have this specific comp, you already know, okay, these two here, these two here, these two center, like you already know what you're doing. I feel like it's an exciting time to have to redefine that. With 6v6, you're losing some people. So the normal strategies just kind of aren't going to fly anymore. So I'm pretty excited about I'm excited for change. Just, the change in the ease of 6 people versus the 10. And solo queue.
I think it's kind of what the game needs. I think it'll break up some of the monopolies that 10v10 has right now. I don't know if you guys are in the scene at all for RBGs, but there's pretty much like maybe 20 people that just have been running the bracket for like the past 4 or 5 years. Me being one of the 20, so it's kind of nice. But at the same time,
what a dick.
At the same time, once you change it to 6v6, these 20 people start breaking into 3 or 4 teams, and it really starts increasing competition. And I love competition, so I'm excited.
Domination and rated is fun for the people that are dominating, and it's. I think even at some point, the people that are dominating might feel sometimes that it isn't fun because they're not really being given a challenge, right? Being the top's great. However, if you're at the top so long, like what's challenging in that situation? Oh, yep, we beat them again, or
There was a season where in RBGs recently where we went 100-0 in RBGs, and we were just fighting like our MMR is like 2,700. We're fighting people that are 1,500 or 1,600, like 80% of our games because everyone else is dodging us, right? So
last expansion, that was pretty much the bulk of my life was RBGs. But I haven't done much this expansion because PvP irritates me. But we're not going to talk about that because we're going to be about, solo queue. So listen.
Well, so really quick, what Xaryu mentioned is I kind of want them to balance it around 6v6 instead of it's always been balanced around 3 versus 3. And like if they could bring back utility and stuff like that, it'd be really good for PvP in general. Or maybe they could separate arena and RBG templates or spells or something like that too.
Or maybe they could give us back our PvP vendors and stop making us, have irrelevant gear and have to run PvE content to PvE gear or PvP gear. Maybe you could stop making it where people who don't have time to PvP all the time, right? So we made it really, really easy for them to just come in, prestige a ton of times with world quests, And yeah, that's super
What's
awesome.
yeah,
but what about the guy who does have time? Fuck.
What's the EFC again?
Right?
For gearing, for me, I run 1 mythic plus a week, 15, because I have to, and I just have my stream carry it, carry me through it.
Yeah, but like, remember,
I need less damage on the tank. Like, I just get through there, man.
Remember the feeling of each week's reset at the beginning of a season, and you knew you had to cap out on your conquest each week because you needed to get in there and get it done.
Yeah.
Like, you looked forward to it. You got together. You guys banged out those arenas, whatever it is you were doing to cap that conquest, going to your gear vendor, deciding which piece you had to buy first, because there's like 3 that are priority first, and then like the feeling of knowing you spent a couple weeks to get, you know, your chest piece or your weapon, and doing it all over again. Like, I miss those little nuances when it comes to PvP, and I need those to be back. But before we rant, solo queues. Now, guys,
wait, we're not ranting?
we're going to have a rumble about these solo queues because my good buddy Xaryu here is like super into solo queue for rated. And now this is specific to mainly 3s and RBGs, right? You want the ability to be able to solo queue into a rated scenario.
Yeah, so I think there's like 2 sides of the coin. You have to do it in a way that is fair, and that's difficult to actually come by. So I don't know how they would implement it. The how is still in question for sure. Because if they just do it like skirmishes, it would be a disaster, I think. Because a class like, you know, like a mage, and if I get paired with a hunter, I can't really, mage hunter doesn't really work. And 6v6 would probably be much better. But the how is still under question. I think the reason that it's needed is because almost every single person I talk to about WoW, whether it's in real life, whether it's on my stream, is like, I log in and I love the game and I can't queue PvP. So guess what? I quit and I play League, or I quit and I play Counter-Strike, right? That's bad. They need some type of way that you can log in and play. I don't care what it is. You need to log in and press play because it's 2018 and people need that.
So it has to be rated then. They can't run random battlegrounds like everybody else, or like, and I think that's what I don't understand. It's always been traditional. You have a team, you go for arenas. You have an RBG team, you go. If you don't, you pre-made. You either have YOLO RBGs or you have, you know, a group that's pugging because maybe they're missing people or, you know, whatever the case may be. I just feel like I don't understand the need for high-level content because to me, rated is higher than your casual, really aids random battlegrounds. Nobody does the strat. Nobody pays a fucking attention. Whatever. I don't understand the need for, like, if you... I guess I just need you to tell me, how would that be any different than them just queuing for a random battleground?
The attachment to a ladder system is incredibly important. So any popular game without a ladder falls apart almost immediately.
People are obsessed with ladders.
People are obsessed with plus 21 and they win and minus 21 and they lose.
But if they're so serious about being on the ladders, wouldn't they be on an RBG team?
Well, it's very difficult to find 10 players to actually stick together, which is one of the reasons why I'm excited for 6v6. But even to find 2 or 3 players to stick together is so hard. The ability to solo queue or to even duo queue, I think would like just revive the entire scene.
I wonder if I'm missing the element because I've always been guilded and we've had our guild RBG teams. Like maybe I'm missing that element of people that don't have that, right? Because I don't even know if you're probably not even in a guild because fuck guilds.
Yeah, I haven't been in a guild in four or 5 years because in PvP they're pretty much irrelevant. Everyone's in different servers. All the best players are spread apart. So being in a guild doesn't do much.
Right.
And like my real ID is my guild. Right, kinda. It's like 200
So maybe
people.
I've been thinking of it in terms of I've been sheltered because I've always had people to go and do the things. So maybe that's my.
For myself, like I'm a streamer and I can find games most of the time. So even for me, it's not even for me. It's for the people that I know personally in real life or in my stream that are just like, I want to queue and I just can't find people. I use LFG and I find 2 or 3 games and they bail. Every time, and people just want to play WoW PvP, ranked WoW PvP, and it's very difficult to do that.
So my next question...
I have a point really quick on that. What happens if you always have a meta of what spec and what class is going to be better? How would they combat people either griefing by queuing as an undesirable class or...
AKA Mia's destruction.
Or enhancing all the classes around so nothing's really bad as long as you play it right.
So like that's the how that I was talking about, and that's actually very interesting. I like your question. I guess So 6v6 is probably the easiest solution because, like I talked about, in an objective-based environment, when you have a flag to capture, something like a Destruction Warlock might be good at killing the FC. They might not be as good at one thing, but it's better at something else. So the 6v6 seems a lot easier. Now to balance 3v3, if you wanted to put solo queue in, it would be, you could add a veto system of vetoing classes that you don't want to queue with. You could add in, well, I want to queue this comp, or this comp. Maybe pick 3 comps you could queue. I don't know how it would look, but there's some options that we would have to look at if solo queue is implemented. What I wouldn't like is a skirmish system where you basically just queue and you could queue in like mage, DK. Like, I don't want to queue random comps. I want to queue stuff that I'm going to have fun queuing.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different options. I just don't really know the best one off the top of my head.
I wonder if that's why Blizzard hasn't attacked.
Probably.
Well, it's like, for instance, I'm going to have to reference a different game, but with League, they overhauled their solo queue system where if you go into a ranked match, you would be set in this, in the spot you were given, instead of someone auto-locking Yasu or auto-locking, can't remember the name.
So like, something like that. Something like that, like if I'm a mage queuing, I think there should be a couple things in place. Like, it might be brutal, but I think it should be based off of current rating.
That was my next question, because that's important. You don't want to be X level rated and then you queue in with somebody who's just barely establishing their rating in the solo queue process, right? Would there be seasons? Like, how would that?
There would probably be seasons. There would probably be a solo queue ladder. There would probably be separate seasons. The thing that I think is important, and one of the biggest problems with looking for group, is that everyone thinks that they're better than they are. Everyone thinks that I'm a 2700 rated player when they got 2700 back when 2700 wasn't Gladiator.
Right. So you mean I'm not the best destruction in the world, sir? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me I'm shit?
Not necessarily. But what I'm saying is back in Cataclysm, 2700 was not good, right? 2700 was like not even Gladiator. Whereas 2700 last season was like close to rank 1.
Right.
There's a huge difference, and the MMR fluctuates each season. Solo queue, the big thing with solo queue, I think, is it needs to be based off current rating. If I'm a 3K rated player, but I'm starting at 0 rating, I should be playing with people that are 0 rated. And I should move up the ladder, just like in League or just like in any other game. You should have different brackets and move up them based on current rating. I think that's important, so people can't be like, yeah, well, I'm 2700 experience. Well, what's your rating? 1500. Because that happens way too often, I think.
I agree. My husband brags about being gold, whatever the fucking Overwatch, and I'm like, how many games did you play? He's like, 10. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like, no, and so I guess if you're thinking about it in that perspective, I guess that makes a lot of sense to me. I've always thought, when it comes to rated content, that I look at it very similar to rating, right? We don't have solo queue for normal. We don't have solo queue for heroic or mythic. So to me, I've always, even though they're separate, the way that it's approached always made sense to me, that for higher level stuff, and I consider rated higher level, I felt like that should just always be, hey, if you have your team, just like you can't queue into normal, mythic, heroic raids, like it's kind of the same concept, because I think if you open the door for rated solo queue, you're opening the door for the other side of the spectrum, because what happens when something happens for PvE that doesn't happen for PvP, like those two, whether we want to or not, everybody compares them and they complain. The PvE community complains when PvP gets something that they don't, and vice versa. So I wonder what that would look like, and it's both a scary concept, and now that I've thought about it from a different perspective, it's interesting for those that maybe want to be able to do that and can't.
I didn't really see the comparison to PvE, and I think on the PvE side of things, I do agree with you. I think it would be not good for the game if you could solo queue into heroic or mythic.
Because there's too many people, right? I think it's amount specific.
Yeah, I mean, you can already solo queue with LFR, and
that's tons of fun.
I mean, I don't do that, but you can solo queue at one part of the game. But yeah, for some reason, it seems much different. Like you have your guild, you have these people that you're grouping with, but for PvP, I don't know. I think it's just this like 2018. You need a solo queue button.
And then, so with solo queue, because when it comes in terms, I mean, I guess threes would be okay, because in skirms, people don't really use voice anyway. Like, I wonder how that would work, because with RBGs, you need to have comms. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you really, especially, I'm really snobby when it comes to that kind of stuff. Obviously, I don't PvP. I haven't PvP'd this expansion, but that's my own personal issue. But before, I like that strategy, and I like the back and forth on comms when it comes to strategy and stuff like that. So I wonder how that would work in real life when it comes to, you don't want to have to solo queue for an RBG and then you have to go to somebody else's Discord. As much as Blizzard's put into the battle chat, I don't know who uses it.
No.
I've never, like, I have Discord and 20 other things that we use.
I use it all the time.
Really?
He's a liar.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think I've ever used it besides like Beanslayer telling me to use it once.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and I don't even
what?
know how to I don't even know. I'm sure there's a setting, but how would that be enforced, used, integrated? Because to me, that sounds like a nightmare. Solo queuing into an RBG and not having any comms. Would they have to force that? Would you be okay with I mean, you would because you're fucking Xaryu. I don't know why I asked you. But, like, let's pretend you're not who you are when it comes to PvP. You're good, but you're not, like, you good, right? Rank 1.
Nah.
Like, would you be okay with solo queuing into an RBG and not having any way to call out?
I think once you get to a high enough MMR, it'd be pretty much normality to link a Discord. And I think at lower MMR, it's maybe not necessary, and you kind of just have to carry the team to move up. I think that's probably fine.
I mean, also at that level MMR, everyone already pretty much knows a strat that is.
Yeah, but when you're swapping
normalized.
targets
Well,
and it's crucial, especially when it's a clutch moment, like swapping target calls is really important. I don't care what anybody says. It's
I
really
agree with
important,
you.
right?
I think the target caller is important. I think at high rating it would still be used, but in solo queue, here's the problem. As a content creator, I log into WoW and I can't play. That's bad. I'm turning my stream on and I can't play. Like, Battlegrounds aren't, like, for the people that enjoy Battlegrounds, I'm sorry, but they're not a form of PvP. I haven't done a Battleground unrated in years.
I do them because I have no choice because I lost my RBG team. They all went Horde. So,
brutal.
Yeah, when the major changes to the human racial came out, that's why I asked you, are you sure it's still good? Because I literally lost my entire RBG team. They all went Horde when that changed. Not even joking. But
human is still the best, I'd say, but Orc is good too.
Somebody should tell them about themselves. But no, I agree that it's, I guess I didn't see it from, all different types of perspectives. That's interesting, though.
I do agree with you, though. In PvE, I don't see that being a great solution.
That sounds
and
like
even in PvP, there's a lot of discussion that needs to be had. It can't just be like, let's put in some solo queue that are just like skirmishes, except a rating tied to it, because that would be awful. Like, they need to... Yeah,
they'd have to overhaul the UI, the background stuff,
the system or some type of, like, I only want to play these comps, or maybe it's only in 6v6. There has to be something in place. So, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
like,
and
why is there 6 blood DKs in the group? What the hell?
Honestly, you might probably meet some good people if solo queue is an option for RBGs. I might actually, like, thinking about it from my perspective, if I hop in there, I might find other people that are down to, like, 2 days a week.
Grow a team organically.
Put a little team together. Because honestly, for my guild's raid team, that's how we found half of our raiders outside of the people coming from the show. Like, half of our raiders were people we randomly mythic dungeoned with or whatever. And they were just like, hey, you guys do this? Yeah, we do this.
Okay, so side note, the way classically people found partners was through... Guess. Do you guys know what it's from?
Match.com.
Tinder?
No. I meant World of Warcraft. Sorry, World of Warcraft
Christian
partners.
Mingle? So
Close.
it's none of those.
None of those.
None of those.
Do you guys know?
I don't know. I have no idea.
So the way almost do you know, Rem?
Trade chat.
Yeah, you can make an argument for that, but almost every time it was through dueling. 1v1 to dueling.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Outside Orgrimmar, outside Stormwind. That was how I met almost all of my partners. That's how I met the kind of like the group that I got rank 1 with for the first time. I would duel people and kind of make a name for myself because, duel someone like ABN who's been rank 1 and I was a duelist or something, and he's like, wow, this guy's actually not that bad. And then I would make a name for myself through the dueling scene. 1v1, moved to 2v2, moved to 3v3. It was a very, like a stepping stone almost. But you can't duel in Legion. You just can't.
No.
Legendaries ruin it. Stat templates aren't active. Ancients are active. Let's see, trinkets are active.
Dueling in Legion is the equivalent to tanks in arenas. Okay?
Well, BFA will bring that back, though, because if you have the PvP enabled, you have the template on 100% of the time, so you can do those duels with the current PvP template. So,
Yeah, like what I want is a PvP zone where you can duel, maybe an island or something, a PvP zone where it's just arena templates are active all the time. You can just spam duel people. Then people find communities, they find friends, they find people that like, oh, you know, there's a little trash talk going back and forth and they fight an arena. That's what the game needs. I think if you're not going to do something like solo queue, it needs something like that. So community.
So you could have a little island where you have one little spot is the Thunderdome.
Okay.
And then another spot is just like the mingling area where you can duel and shit. And then you have another place where it's, I don't know, like a place where you can meet up for a group or something other.
Yeah.
The Thunderdome would be fun.
That sounds super
2
complicated.
people enter, 1 person leaves.
Yeah, that's actually pretty legit. I'd like to battle royale.
Like the Garibashi Arena, that's not like the hype thing anymore, but that was fucking fun.
That
like,
was
you
cool.
Have, like,
Garibashi Arena is cool.
20 people in the middle of the arena killing each other because it's free for all.
Yep. Something like that would be fun. And I think that's what PvP needs to kind of build those communities again. Right now we can't duel. So what are you supposed to do when you're not queuing rateds? Sit there?
Yeah, some people sit on a mountain, some people sit on buildings.
I need to know what your feelings are in tanks and arenas.
Mine? No, that's my feelings.
That's the reason we're friends, honestly, because
but
every time Bean cues as his prot, a baby kitten is crying. I'm not even joking. Like, it is just a tragedy.
I've queued with Bean Slayer a few times.
But I mean, it's hilarious jumping into a 2s, 2 blood decays. You can't die. It's fun. But in RBGs, like for instance,
sometimes I can heed in RBGs that occasionally, depending on the map, especially, well, from a flag carrying perspective, it really should be your fastest class in your comp. I mean, there's tons of different directions that you could go there.
Well, to run it and then
like I can see the need, especially like maybe you're using your fastest class to dart across and then you pass it to your tank for holding while you go kill, you know, the EFC, whatever. I just don't think tanks belong in PvP. I can handle them in RBGs because I feel like sometimes I don't have a choice, but every time I see a fucking tank in a tournament, you are the chosen people in this tournament. When you are tournament players, you are representatives of all of us PvPers. So you, as the chosen, should be paving the way for PvPers, not up there with your prop paladin, cheesing, smiling in the camera.
Okay. There's 2 sides to that. One, you can't blame the players. They're going to play what's most OP because
that's why I hate
money. There's money on the line. So they're going to play what's most viable. So who do we have to blame? The people that balance that. So tank shouldn't be allowed. Yeah.
Well, there was a tweet that happened right around when the first time we seen, because we hadn't seen tanks in any tournament play in a really, really long time when it comes to arenas. Then randomly we start seeing them, and I want to say that it was right around the time Vengeance, Demon Hunters were like a thing, right? Where people were testing that water, double Demon Hunters, all that shit, whatever.
Yep.
Nasty.
There was a tweet from somebody at Blizzard who said, we want to see tanks in PvP. And I was like, wait, you want to what? I'm sorry, you want to do what with who? Why do you want this? So there was a very long thread. It was a very, very frustrating thread. But yes, you are 150% absolutely right. It's Blizzard's fault for making that a thing. Because if they didn't make it viable, then it wouldn't be a thing. I think
what Blizzard has said is like, if someone wants to main a tank and they want a PvP, we want that to be an option. So that's like the counter argument, right? Like, we don't want to just leave out an entire spec. Just because
balance it a little bit better so it's not like, I don't know.
Well, obviously that'd be able to take damage, but not to the point where you have like 4 people on him and he's all like only at 50% and then he heals. It's like, okay, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough life. World PvP.
I'd rather just have them be like, yeah, sorry, you can't PvP.
Right, like, yeah, like if you're if you're in tank spec, they're like, oh yeah, you can't queue. Like, just kidding, you can't do anything.
I mean, it's the hard knock life
for
us.
Okay, World PvP. So we've talked a little bit about this, and I'm sure you've kind of kept up, like, with what the current, what they're doing. So in BFA, basically what's going to happen is there's going to be 2 realm types. There's going to be normal and RP. If you toggle your PvP on, because as we know, they're lifting the wall between world PvP and regular PvP and making it a personal toggle. So if you toggle, which currently right now you can only toggle in 2 places, and that's Stormwind and Orgrimmar. So you have to make a conscious effort to say, hey, I'm going to go out questing. I'm feeling kind of froggy, had a couple drinks. Let's get this PvP going while I'm level whatever. Once you do that, you have to go back to your city to toggle it on or off. So if you're in it for whatever session, however long, you can't get engaged with somebody and then decide to flip your toggle because it's not going to work. When that happens on normal, all the servers are going to be normal minus RP, you're basically going to be phased in with everybody else that has that toggle on, right? So it's other like-minded individuals that are either PvPing or not PvPing, which is pretty awesome. If you're on an RP server, that they're not going to respect that phase, so you'll see everybody still because of apparently the rules of RP is...
I thought it was that it's not cross-realm. It's you're locked on that server.
No, they
but
said...
it phases people out.
Yeah,
so.
they're making it where you could see non-PvPers. So if you have your PvP toggle on, then you'll be able to see everybody because of whatever, I don't know what RP...
Whatever RP rules.
Like, I'm trying to not offend, but I don't know a whole lot about the RP scene, so I don't know.
Either, yeah.
Like, but they
Moonguard
just
would be in an uproar.
They just said that they couldn't make it where you couldn't see people because maybe you're RP PvP. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah. Well,
so how do you feel about that? You're on a PvP server, right?
Yeah. So the toggle on, toggle off city idea is genius. Great. I love it. I'm excited for it. That comes with world PvP should be more balanced, right? Like there's 2 rogues that will remain nameless on my stream that have been ganking me for the past 2 years. Every time I leave the city, I'll die instantly to 2 rogues and a boomkin sometimes. 2 rogues and a boomie. Since legendaries have been out, they have legendary cloak, legendary shoulders. I die in 1 hit to Fan of Knives. There's nothing I can do.
Like right now, this is current.
This happens every time I leave a city ever from the last 2 years. And now I could probably complain to Blizzard and get them banned for griefing, but at the same time, like that shouldn't be possible, right? So we need, if world PvP is going to be a thing and we want to toggle on, toggle off, the main thing is world PvP balanced? As a rank 1 player, can I take on 2 or 3 noobs? As a rank 1 player, can I have a good duel versus another rank 1 player? As a rank 1 player, can I actually have fun in world PvP, or am I just going to get one shot? Because I'm going to get one shot and it's going to be off 100% of the time, and I'll only just queue arenas. I want world PvP at all. And that's how it is right now.
Is it possible that toggling world PvP they've always complained that with world PvP they couldn't do the stat templates, right? The wonderful stat templates that don't, when PvE stuff is changed from a class perspective, it no longer affects PvP, which is great. But I wonder if the toggle is going to be linked to any kind of like template swap where
well, that's why I assumed that was going to happen.
Yeah, but they haven't talked about it, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, it would make sense for them to have that template on your character whenever you're toggled and in a PvP environment. So
because I don't see why they would put in all this work to have the toggle only for it to be imbalanced. So and so who runs mythic content can basically just one shot you.
Right. I think I'm excited. I love the idea. The idea is wonderful. I think it should have been in place a long time ago. I think it's great. I just want world PvP to be balanced. Personally, my favorite part of the entire game has always been 1v1s, 1v2s, world PvP. I like that more than arenas any day. I love it to death. I could play it all day long.
Are you angry when you lose a duel?
I am. And
do you duel your friends?
I do. And I'm very passionate about this. I just made a YouTube video on it and I talk about it on my stream all the time. But as a mage right now, I should lose to a duel to every single class besides a warrior in the entire game. I should lose to a death knight, a warlock, a priest, a shaman, a rogue, a druid, a demon hunter, most other specs of mages. Like, it's bad. As a rank 1 player, I'll lose to an 1800 death knight, a 1500 feral. That should, like, I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care, like, as a rank 1 player to 3K losing to a 1500 feral druid. Yikes, right? And then in world PvP, when we're seeing stuff that's even worse, you're getting one shot by the 1500 feral druid. So there's a lot that needs to be changed. I care about the balance more than anything, and I think my favorite game type is 1v1. I love duels. My stream blew up from 1v2s, from 1v1s, dueling Jamili on stream for 100,000 gold.
Are you friends with Jamili? He's a little bitch. Anyway, I've always said it, guys. I've been honest for the last 4 years. I have told everybody my feelings. Yes, Jamili is very, very skilled, right? I give credit where credit is due. But am I wrong? Am I wrong? Blink if I'm wrong. That's what I thought. So you could be skilled in all of that.
He opened his eyes wide open.
Also, most people who pay attention to PvP or esports or stuff like that, like there's a lot of rivalry and that shit's real. I'm method all the fucking way. And when it comes to people that get in that rivalry, like there's always been beef no matter what team Jamili is on when it comes to methods. So like that's just, it's not the first time I've said it. Like I really feel it in my bones. And
that's why he's my number one.
You want to know a fun fact?
So you dueled him and you won?
I've dueled him a lot for like 100,000 gold, 50,000 gold. That was like one of my stream highlights back in MOP. But we've dueled a lot. We fought in arena a lot. But fun fact, my first rank 1 was with Jamili. A lot of people don't know that.
Was he jealous of your skills?
No, at that point he was already rank 1. I was the noob. So I guess I owe him a thank you for that. But I kind of, my stream blew up because I 1v2'd him. He had 2 partners. I was solo and I 1v2'd him, and that's kind of what took my stream off. So I also have to thank him for that.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. Like now, look at the sad life. Now he's the reject. Like this is what your life has become because you've been a chode, right? This is what happens, guys. This is a life lesson. Life lesson. There are lessons everywhere.
Okay, let's be nice too, though. Jamili is an incredible player.
He's a very skilled player. Never once have I ever complained about his skill, ever. Not once. Oh, maybe one time when he did a thing when he wasn't supposed to do a thing, whatever. But no.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, honestly, they do what I can't. So I really can't. I mean, there's not much you can say. It's not like
He's an incredible player. Yeah, he's an incredible player.
But I would like you to teach me how to kill a warrior, because every expansion, as a destruction, there's always that one class that I struggle with. Like last expansion, I think it might have been DK, but I was killing warriors super easy. The beginning of this expansion, I struggled with demon hunters really bad. Like I just wanted to end my life anytime I went up against a demon hunter because I felt like I was too slow in my reactions. So now it seems warriors are my problem because I'm just dying in back-to-back.
Speaking of reactions, there was a hotfix that went live today, like 5 hours ago. Did you guys see?
For the lag issues? Yeah.
I've been wanting that for so long. Because in PvP, that's so important. When you see a monk rolling, but then you're already stunned. They're starting to roll and you're already stunned. Or a demon hunter is like leaping, but you're already stunned. It's like, no. When I see the leap, I want to be able to blink.
Right.
When I see the roll, I want to be able to pre-temp shield, so I don't take all the
counter, whatever you got to do.
So I haven't played yet. I haven't played today, so I'm excited for that.
Interesting. I'm going to have to see what that affects. I know I'm struggling to warriors big time. It just feels like I'm just back-to-back CC'd and there's nothing I could do to get out of it. It's been really frustrating.
What did you do about warriors when during that one patch in MOP when their heroic throw was also a silence?
Me?
Oh, either one of you.
I don't remember. I probably bitched about it a lot, if I'm being 100% honest.
They had a ranged silence, so I mean. I
was a mage, so I could take him out regardless. Mages were so fun in MOP. So fun.
Oh, man. I was going to talk about Prestige, but I've decided... All I'm going to tell you is they're keeping it. They're not removing it. They're going to add more...
As long as they incentivize it a little bit better.
They're going to add more useless things that the majority of the PvP community doesn't care about. And they're going to continue to make it where you can world quest with PvP world quests and you can prestige 20 times and totally be the PvP king when it comes to prestige. They're keeping that. They're going to add stuff to it. They're going to add more ranks and... Yay!
I don't like it. I don't dislike it. I just don't care really.
I miss.
The problem is, Bell looks at it as a title, whereas
I look at it as accolades being given when they shouldn't. Yeah. But that's just because I'm really snobby when it comes to PvP. Like I shouldn't be 20 prestige and be bragging when it can be easily gotten with World Quest because we have several people in our guild who have gotten it from World Quest and don't know who the EFC is. Yes, Eeg, I'm calling you out, bruh. Like, this is me calling you out. Like, how are you going to brag about being, like, all this prestige and then we're in RBGs and you're like, what's an EFC?
All right, well, flip it on them. If they're high prestige, that means that they haven't been queuing enough rated arenas and rated battlegrounds. Because if you're only queuing rated arenas, rated battlegrounds, you're not top prestige.
Not
you don't
top
get enough.
prestige. Yep, because you don't get enough.
So the lower prestiges are actually
How funny.
that's where the pros are at, the low prestige.
Yeah, that's a good
I've
point.
only prestige once.
You're really good. Yeah.
I don't even know if I've prestige once. I feel like I'm close though. I gotta get on them world quest though if I really
Got
want to make it.
1600 rating in threes, guys. Okay.
I haven't done arenas since I lost my team. No, I lost my team. It's really emotional for me, and Destro suffered a lot of changes, and I'm not as good as all these guys
like
are.
thugonomics and stuff.
Yeah, like
Destro's okay.
I just don't. I'm not skilled enough to overcompensate what my class lacks and what my class needs. So because I like there's guys that are making it happen. There's Destro that's, they're doing their thing. It's not, I don't want to blame it all on class. I'm just going to say, like, while I'm skilled in PvP, I'm not skilled enough to overcompensate. I openly admit that, and I'm unwilling to go demo or affliction because that's just not what's fun for me. So I'm not a lifer when it comes to stuff like that. I just cry about it until they fix it. So last on the PvP list is we are going to talk about what happened for NA Cup 1 last week. If you guys had the pleasure of following me on Twitter, I make no apologies for the many tweets.
I muted you for a little bit.
My neighbors thought I was killing somebody. I had to actually go out back because I was yelling in between the matches, and my husband was like, seriously? So I was like, kept going out back, or I would be in my room and shut the door because I was really loud. So I thought that it would be really nice for Xaryu to give us some like highlights and breakdowns, and I was going to chime in with some of my favorite stuff because you guys know I'm a method girl, and obviously we had orange and black, which is fucking killing it.
Yeah.
So tell us all the things. Give us the favorites, man.
Congratulations to Super Frogs. That's Channel Cub C Wealthy Man majored in.
Yep.
They're all friends of mine. I actually am in a guild. I'm in the Pond, and the Pond is the Pond of the Frogs.
Interesting.
Super Frogs.
Interesting.
There's only like 10 people in it. It's basically just them. But, so it's not.
It's just 10 of all the really famous PvPers that hang out.
Yeah, so it's not really a guild, but the Pond. So yeah, Super Frogs. They have a very strong roster. I love all these guys. I didn't think they were going to do as good as they did. They really, really impressed me.
Majidin's awesome, though.
Yeah, he's been a buddy of mine for a while. I've actually met him in real life.
I don't think I've ever seen him play bad.
He's a great mage.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal mage. They're all just phenomenal players. I think they did better than I thought just because it is kind of a new roster. Cubsy and Wealthy Man have played together a lot. Channel's played with them a lot. Majidin was kind of the one that meshed in, but he meshed in very well. I think that, in my opinion, Method Black is the strongest team in the entire tournament. And I was actually surprised they didn't win or come second. They came third, I believe. I think Snuts is one of the best multi-classers the game's ever seen. I think he's one of the best healer multi-classers the game's ever seen. Sam I Am is probably the best mage shot. Like, he's insane, and then Smexen. So their roster is stupidly stacked. They can play almost any competition at the highest level. I am going to pull up the 3v3 ladder right now in World of Warcraft. I'm pretty sure they have spots 1, 2, and 3.
It's tough for me because I, obviously, as Method, I love all of them. It's really hard to, but you do have to be honest about some things. However, I want to say, like, obviously I'm a Do fan, right? I really want Do to get his cup. Like, that's personal because, like, we want to see Do get what, whatever. I am a huge Mez fan because I think Mez is just godlike. Like, honestly, Live Lord godlike. He's just one of those guys that, to me, whenever I think of tournament play, I just expect perfection out of him all the time because it's very rare that he falters. Trill was this little guy who came out of nowhere last year. Like, where did you come from? And he killed it, in my opinion. Like, he completely proved, why I think, what was he, Synergy then? Or whatever the weird...
Yeah, Synergy with Maldiva and
Yeah,
Kova.
so, like, to me, he completely killed it. And I agree with you. I do think the better team, especially because of the utility that they have, Snuts can literally play anything. Although I don't like him playing anything, but he can.
I didn't mean Method Black had better like singular players in any way. I meant Method Black has a stronger roster because they can play any comp to the highest level, essentially.
Yeah.
Where Sea-Doo's locked in because he's really shitty on his druid, but he's amazing on his shaman. He's really good on his monk. Like,
is he shitty on his druid?
Yeah, he's really shitty on his druid. He'll tell you too. He'll tell you I don't really like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's maybe his weakest, but
last year was really he made really embarrassing mistakes as a druid.
Well, in his defense, my druid is a whole lot less than his druid, so
no, druid just doesn't speak to him. It's just not. He just has to practice, and he's openly admitted like last year he played more druid than he should have, honestly. But that's what the comp required, right? It was what it was. But I agree on like they're packing a lot of heat when it comes to their skill set. Being
so Method Orange. Like, I have a lot of faith in them right now in the metagame because Windwalker DK Shaman is one of the best comps in the game. And they have like pretty much the best Shaman, the best DK, and arguably the best Windwalker in the game on their team. So they can run this one comp to its absolute limits. I've played them on ladder, win against them, lose against them, kind of back and forth. And then I play against other Windwalker DKs and we just crush them every time. So these guys are playing Windwalker DK far past what Windwalker DK is even really capable of. So they're playing it to its maximum potential, but they don't have much of a roster. That fourth player needs to be some type of like caster, multi-classer that can really give them some depth into their roster. And I'm not really sure who that should be yet. A lot of people are asking me to fill that spot, but I don't want to be a player.
Why don't you do tournaments?
That's the question everyone asks. I don't know.
Well, like, give me the exclusive. Like,
I like being a content creator. I like streaming 7 days a week.
You don't like because you'd have to like give that up for practices and all that. But don't you ever just want to test your limits and see how far you could go?
Maybe.
At the same time, if he's passing those people on the ladder, then he kind of proved himself in that regard too.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that $100,000 in his pocket though.
Oh yeah, that's valid.
Like you might have a hefty savings. I'm just saying, like that $100,000 would be super nice.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind $100,000 for all the hours of practice, split 4 ways, divided by 2 from tax. It's not really what it should be at all. It should be.
Don't bring logic into the question.
I'm just saying, I don't know. It's not really what I want to do. I have done some tournaments. I think I've done 6 tournaments, maybe 7. I've won first place in all of them, and I want to leave it at that for now.
Oh, you went out on top. I got you. You have that. I was this, and that's it. Like, there was no...
Yeah. And
I got you, Ali. I got you.
Right now. Yeah. So it's going to be for right now.
That makes sense.
I also live in Arizona. Arizona's a banned state.
Do you live in Arizona?
Yep.
Oh.
You seem surprised.
I didn't know. For some reason, I thought you lived in California.
Nope.
How weird.
Arizona. Yeah.
That
Tucson.
explains. Oh, that's right. I think I knew that. I'm pretty sure I made fun of you.
Probably. You're in Phoenix.
Because I tell people that Tucson's not real Arizona people.
Oh, crap. Why not?
Just kidding.
I like Tucson.
I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I swear. I swear, guys. God, I swear. Okay. So, you know what I wanted to talk about the move.
Okay.
Mostly because I'm a real big Peekaboo fan, right? Like, huge Peekaboo fan. And I mean, I saw pretty good things, but I felt like I could have saw better. I mean, they tried really hard.
I think the move, man, I feel the same way about a lot of rosters. I think the move is a team where Peekaboo is probably the best rogue. Maybe Roasties kind of rivals him. WizK is the best Shadow Priest. Jelly Beans is, at least in my eyes, the best Hunter. And Absterge is top 2 Shaman probably.
Yeah.
Whenever I thought Hunter for like the past couple of years, it's been Jelly Beans. When I did Survival Hunter last expansion, like I followed his build, so...
Yeah, so they're some of the best of their classes, but Shadow Priest, Rogue, Hunter, Shaman, and they do multi-class, but they're no snuts. They're no Gareki. Right. They're not incredible at other classes.
Yeah, they were trying really hard with the Shadow Priest in their comp, I noticed, which was kind of not the current meta.
If RPS is the best comp in the game, they win BlizzCon. Similarly, if Windwalker DK is the best comp in the game, Method Orange wins BlizzCon.
Right. It's good to be the master of your comp, but when it comes to, especially once the stakes get higher as the tournament progresses and even on until BlizzCon, that's the deal breaker.
That's why I think Method Black is the strongest by far, and that's why I was surprised they didn't win, because they have every composition you could imagine played at 99% potential. Not 100%. They're not going to play Windwalker DK as good as Meztril and Sea-Doo. They're not going to play RPS as good as Peekaboo with K and Absurge. But they're going to play everything at 99% potential, and that's just way better for tournament play. I think they just weren't playing the greatest that day or something. Something seemed off.
And Sam did really, really good last year, especially for him being so green, right? Like, he's super young, and this was kind of new. He was treading new territory. And I feel like, I mean, he was amazing, though. Like, he really was amazing. I've always liked Gorecki, no matter what team he's on. I'm not really a fan of Tempo Storm in general, and anybody that's on Tempo Storm's team, I typically didn't like anyway, so I'm really happy that I don't have to deal with them anymore. But, like, Gorecki, I like Gorecki. I mean, Smex and Snuts, they're my pros, man.
Yeah, they're incredible. When people ask me, like, the top player of all time, the name that comes immediately to my mind is Snuts. I mean, he's been playing at a rank 1 tournament level since ever.
In Inception, yeah.
And he does it with great ease. When you watch him play, it's just like not even breaking a sweat. Like, he's just so just chill.
Yeah.
It's impressive to be that way, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, my boy doesn't do it anymore, so I can't root for him. So
Rem just roots for anybody I hate.
You didn't hate Talvadar, so
you know who I did like to see? It was nice to see Hansel. Even though the 3-2-1 didn't get very far.
So hot right now.
But it's nice. It was nice to see him in tournaments.
I'm happy. One of his goals he said for this year was just to compete in tournaments. To see him there was awesome.
Yeah.
They need to figure out the whole healer situation.
Right.
If you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It was a shit show, to say the least, but it was really, really nice to see him there because I miss seeing him there. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love Hansel. He's a good guy. I think he needs to figure out the healer situation, and I think he'll do okay. Obviously, they play like FMP purely, and they would need a good fourth to kind of diversify the roster a little bit. Let's see, like the rejects, I think is a good roster. Seth Curry, as much as I love him, I don't think he fits on the roster that much because he kind of adds Windwalker. I think Rub Cub, Jamili Roasties is phenomenal, but another fourth might be just more fitting.
I love Rub Cub.
I love Rub Cub too, and the story from last year was just incredible.
Right? That was the best FU story ever.
Ever, yeah. Like, I'm trying to remember. So he was with Sam I Am the year before, and Sam I Am said, I'm playing with Sea-Doo.
Yep.
And then he got, you have to remind me, was it Wealthy Man? And then Wealthy Man pieced out, and then he got...
Like, the whole team basically fell apart, but they, like, told Rub Cub, like, dude, you gotta go. And he was like, oh, this is super awkward. Like, I thought we were a team. So he got booted from one. Like, the first one fell apart, and then he got booted from one because, like, I'm pretty sure there was some internal, like, spontaneous combustion that happened.
Yeah.
And then they put together, and then, of course...
Panda and all that, yeah.
The Cinderella story.
And then Rub Cub got Rosita Jones, who was playing League of Legends full time at the time, and he's just like, dude, come back to WoW, let's make a team. They got Jelly Beans. They made a roster, and they got further than anyone else.
I like Rosita Jones. I don't know why. I just really like Rosita Jones.
He's a cool guy, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Rub Cub. I can't, like, his story's incredible. And I'm excited to see, like, we have Rub Cub and Jamili on the same team with Roasties. Seth is a little questionable. As the fourth. I love Seth. He's probably one of the best, if not the best, Windwalker, but I don't know how much Windwalker helps that team comp. So.
Oh, we got Bubble Block. That's my favorite.
Bubble Block Chest.
I was happy to see Bean and Colo playing together because I think that they complement each other in nature very, very well. I don't know about class stuff because that's your avenue, but I feel like.
But why does his name have? Why did he make his name Colo? That's too similar to Kulo. Like, really?
What does that mean? I feel like, what does that mean?
Butthole. Culo? ¿Tú quieres que me culo?
How would I know that? Hello? Just because my last name is of Hispanic origin doesn't mean I speak the language. Bruh. Colo's adorable. Absolutely adorable.
Culo's not adorable.
But talk to me about how you feel. So to me, last year, in regards to Colo and Bean, obviously because their method. I had heard from Bean before. I had heard of Bean before, but I hadn't heard really of like who Colo was. So obviously throughout the year, I kind of grew to love the guy. What about their skill set?
I think Bubble Block Chastise is an underdog. I think the roster isn't as diverse. I think Kaldurg kind of is an interesting fourth because Beamslayer main's a Feral Druid, Kaldurg main's a Feral Druid. So they have 2 Feral Druid mains essentially on their team.
Aren't they all fresh with each other? Like they're still figuring each other out?
I don't know.
It's a fresh team, yeah. So Colo and Bean are from 2 different method teams. Floor Mat normally plays with 2 real life friends, and he's playing with these guys instead. Floor Mat is someone I want to highlight. Floor Mat is you guys probably don't know who he is, right? Do you know who Floor Mat is?
I feel like I should, and I would, but I don't.
Floor Mat, in my eyes, is one of the best mages and one of the best Ellie Shamans and one of the best Boomkins. He classes all 3 in the game right now. He's sleeper really good. Floor Mat, I think, is incredible.
Ellie Shaman, huh? What spec does he play for mage?
Frost and Arcane, and then he plays Ellie Shaman, and then he plays Boomkin.
Huh.
And I think he might even play more, but those are what I...
Ellie Shamans have insane burst.
Yeah, they do. But the problem with their team is Kaldurg and Bean kind of both play that melee feral. Like, they have their roster doesn't seem great to me, but Floor Mat is insane. Colo is a great multi-class healer. Bean has a tournament experience. They're an underdog, but I could see it working.
We saw a lot of upsets last year with underdogs, so I've learned to not count chickens anymore after last year because I think
why are you counting chickens?
that was like the most upset I'd ever seen in a really long time when it comes to tournament play, especially with the closer we got to BlizzCon. I don't know hardly anything about OK.
I mean, that's okay.
So Flop is Flopsy. He's the Resto Druid. He mainly plays Resto Druid. He's been picking up some Priest. Actually, he's doing pretty well in his Priest. He plays Paladin as well. Carol is like a mage player mainly. Baby Cakes is a Windwalker. Grayson's also a mage. So kind of a similar thing to Bubble Block Chastise. Definitely underdogs. Grayson is, I'm guessing, a 7-time rank 1 player. Flopsy's a 3-4-time rank 1 player. These guys have multi-rank 1 players that are kind of just entering the tournament scene. Baby Cakes is a player that last expansion and the expansion before that, he was kind of a noob. And now he's pretty much proved himself as a really good Windwalker. He's rivaling Seth Curry and Shrill. I think OK is just in a similar boat as Bubble Block Chastise. They don't have the greatest rosters I would like. Carol and Grayson have some class overlaps that don't synergize incredibly well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some roster swaps. But all the players are incredible. They're all multi-rank 1, and
it's nice
just see them as an underdog.
It's nice to see new guys, and I think I talked about that, and I think even when we had Bajir on, we talked about seeing newer people, and the money is insane for the tournaments, right? These cups, the amounts, because they're like tripled. I think I did the math last time, and it was like 660,000 per season, maybe for the total 3 seasons. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, obviously when you're splitting between players, and as Xaryu let us know, like taxes, Uncle Sam comes a calling, like
they tax your winnings.
Yeah, it's not always like great, right? Especially after you deduct your taco money and whatnot. So I think it's nice to see new faces as well as kind of mixed in with some old. I like to see, especially when we have like, as much as I dislike, I think it's nice to see the older guys with the newer guys. I think it's important for the veterans to usher in the new generation, like Snuts and Smexon. They've got Sam I Am, which I think it's nice. They're bringing him into hopefully a better generation of PvPers, but it's nice to see the vets taking care of the new guys. I think it's important.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, just getting like rank 1 on ladder or something like that, I'd have to play with players that are 16, 17, coming into the scene. They're fresh.
Now you're like old man, right?
Now I'm the 24, turning 25-year-old that, yeah, I'm definitely more like up there where, if I'm only playing with those set of players, it's definitely more difficult. So seeing the new guys come in, I love it. Players that are playing 1,000 games this season, just grinding it out and really making a name for themselves, that's cool. So I respect that, and I'm excited to see some new names.
Oh God, PvP is such a good time, and it's so nice that it's every week. I think it's nice. I hope, and rounding this out, if you guys didn't watch the Method Orange Super Frogs series, the very last series, you really need to go watch it, because I got to tell you, it was like literally just less than 2%. It was less than 2%. First Dew was almost down, then like Cubs was almost down, then Dew was almost down, then Cubs was almost down, then a clutch purge, and then another clutch purge, and then like there was some cross purgination going on. I was screaming in the backyard like a fucking maniac, and I didn't give any shits. While I am sad that Orange didn't take it. I'm not sad because like the gameplay was amazing, and that's the type of stuff you want to see on tournaments. You don't want to see people get decimated. You want to see the back and forth, and you really want it to be nail biting all the way to the end, because that's what makes good tournament play, and that's also what makes good ratings, because it makes good TV. But make sure you guys check it out, because it was definitely something to behold, and I don't have any hate or harbor any dislike for Super Frogs. So like, Chanimal's my dude. So you know, you can't be mad about all those good things.
My favorite tournament series from the NA Cup 1 was Super Frogs versus Method Black. They just like did a lot of the RP mirrors.
Oh, I was posting shit like mirror, mirror on the wall. I was totally making fun of it the whole time on Twitter. It was
so fun because both of them were like stubborn. They didn't want to change their comp really, and they were just playing the Arcane Assassins RMP. It kind of went back and forth a little bit. That was cool. That was really fun.
When it comes to mirrors like that, do you feel like, I suppose this would be an obvious question to most people, but do you feel that it then makes it is absolutely about who's better at that class when it comes to mirrors, or do you feel like that's just a common assumption that people have and that really isn't the case?
I think your wording is a little like, it's not best at the class, it's best at the composition. In the mirror matchup, so it's more of like
as a whole versus individual.
So synergy is definitely very overlooked. Like for example, maybe Sidhu's the best shaman, but if he's playing with not the best teammates, Windwalker and DK, and then loses in a Windwalker DK mirror, does that mean he's a inferior shaman to the guy he lost to? No. So I don't think it's a measure of independent skill. I think it's more of a measure of who plays the mirror better and who has more synergy. So I guess in this case it was Super Frogs, but the series was close. It was very, very close.
It was pretty close. Have you ever have you ever known people to play an entire tournament or, you know, whatever competitive that absolutely hated each other but won, or maybe they played really well together but they absolutely hated each other in real life, but the synergy was really good during play? Is that even a possibility when it comes to stuff like that? Because I feel like I couldn't.
I don't think.
I couldn't get down. If I didn't like you, I couldn't.
Then how am I on the show?
I don't know. But like, does anything come to mind where?
What comes to mind is Hansel's team, man. Like, I don't know. Like, they need to figure that out. And I think there was a point for me where I didn't care who I played with as long as they were good. And if they were a little like sassy, I was just like, okay, sure. But nowadays, I'm like, if you're gonna like yell at me, I'm out of here. Like, I just don't care. Like, I don't care enough.
I'm not done with your shit.
I'm out of here. Yeah. So.
Yeah, if you're not on that level with somebody where you could take somebody screaming at you and you don't like Rem's used to me screaming because he just knows that's who I am. But like, if random guy and I start screaming, they all of a sudden lose their shit. But I'm curious to see, because there's probably a lot of stuff that, like, I mean, I know a lot of stuff behind the scenes stuff that, because method, whatever, but I feel like there's probably, I wonder how many times that actually happens that we don't know about. Because I know, like, I could list 4 or 5 of these guys that have had beef, but that ultimately caused the split. I wonder if anybody's won hating each other.
I know Chanimal and Jamili, someone in the chat typed it, hated each other, and their team actually did quite well, but they had so much beef that they ended up splitting apart.
I remember that. It was actually quite fun.
So that might have been a good example.
That's interesting, that correlation. I'd like to see somebody defy the odds. You should get a team of people you hate.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Well, I mean, off topic, but on that topic, like for instance, NASCAR, you have little teams, But I mean, if teams can split up in that kind of industry, you can't do it in this industry where you have to fight at the same fucking table. So
I don't like NASCAR.
I know you don't. But I mean,
It doesn't make any sense to me. You just keep going in circles. Like, is that your life? You just go in circles and occasionally
you watch it until they make a right turn.
And then you have a team of people, right? And the one guy pushes you forward. One of you gets to win. Like, it just isn't. I don't understand.
You know, everyone has their own interests, and like some people play.
I like NASCAR.
Some people play mages and rogues and priests that take skill and precision, coordination, communication, and then some people play warlocks.
Ugh, but I don't play Affliction, right? I don't roll out the box amazing like some classes, right? Like you have to finesse Destro. Destro, you really gotta finesse.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
You really need to know what you're doing when it comes to destruction because it requires a particular set of skills that dropping a ton of fucking dots on people doesn't. That's all I'm gonna say about the meta, guys. However, I did hear that Demo was quite fun. I don't know what it looks like in PvP. I mean, I've seen, you know, some demonology in the early part of the tournaments, but I don't know what it does like on the ladder, but I've heard it's quite fun for PvP, maybe, question mark. With that being said,
yeah, okay.
With that being said, I'm gonna take some classes with Xaryu so he can help me get back into the PvP, whatever. So for the final, very last stage, I feel like I don't really need to do like this whole who is your daddy and what does he do for the guest segment because I feel like
who's your daddy?
We pretty much know who you are. You know who you are. Like people listening and watching, they don't really need to know what kind of underwear you wear. So
it's not a tumor.
I do want to, because this would be funny. It's really funny when I have PvP only people do the gauntlet just because.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it's really quick. And basically, I'm going to rapid fire a series of questions. If you know the answer, throw it out. If you think you know the answer, throw it out. If you don't, just say pass. We'll see how many you get. Don't worry, the points don't matter. Doesn't matter if you win or lose.
This is World of Warcraft related.
Yes, World of Warcraft related.
But it's like not PvP.
There isn't really a whole lot of trivia surrounding like what would I ask for PvP?
Oh, okay.
Like,
this is gonna be worse than.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It can't be worse. It can't be any worse than Bajira, honestly. Like, I compare you and Bajira pretty similar because he's like you. He doesn't do a whole lot of PvE stuff, so
okay.
He was pretty. I gotta give it to him though. Like his shit was fucking comical. Okay, let me find it real quick, and then I just need to figure out what I'm looking for.
Someone in the chat knows what type of underwear I wear, so we don't have to even cover that.
Oh well, at least you wear them. There are people who don't.
Calvin Klein, fancy.
Calvin's.
Is it Calvin Klein?
Calvin's. The Calvins.
I'm a Fruit of the Loom type of girl, okay? Like, okay. I dress for comfort. Okay, just kidding. All right, let's find it here. And then the stream's going to get to hear the awkward gauntlet music, which is pretty funny in the background. But I don't want you to be scared. I feel like you might know more than you think.
I think I'm going to know less than you think.
So basically you're saying, I think you're better than what you are. Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, there it is. It was in its own folder. All right. Are you ready? Have you studied?
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right.
Let's go.
Here we go. How many primary dragon flights are there?
I don't know what a dragon flight is.
I fucking love you. Who created the demon soul?
I don't know what a demon soul is besides the smell.
Why was Illidan originally imprisoned?
Pass.
What race is Li Shen from Throne of Thunder?
Li Shen. Like a monk or something.
Oh my god, you're close.
Oh, you're close.
You're close. I'm not even going to ask this next one. Name 4 of the 6 Shahs.
Shah of Anger.
Okay.
Pass.
Why is anger the only one you know?
I one for PvP.
That's called.
That's
valid. Psychological. I just asked you a psychological question. Who are the 4 keepers of Ulduar?
Actually, I have the Ulduar mount. I should know this.
That's what I said. Like, you should know.
Keepers, huh?
One of them is the mount, FYI.
I don't even remember the mount's name. I don't even write it.
You're so bad.
I don't even know the mount's name.
You're so bad. Okay, so your time is up, but I want to know if you know this very last one. Who? I'm fucking dead. Who is the Erador boss in Trial of Crusader? If you don't know this...
Trial of Crusader.
Oh.
So it's Wrath of the Lich King. It's the raid.
Oh, you poked the people. Yeah. You have to Lance is on the horse. Lance.
No.
Lance Armstrong.
Hello, you face Jiraxis. Just say Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, that's the final answer. Lance.
That's the title of the show. It's Jiraxis. Hello? The Erador Lord of the Burning Legion?
So did I impress you or?
Well, I gotta say, I can't even deal with you right now. So I just want you to know that during Bajira's non-PvE self, he invented a new Shaw, which was the Shaw of Disappointment. But you did get, what did you say, anger? There's just so you know, fear.
I got a quarter of a point.
Fear, hatred, doubt, violence, despair, like all of the things that are bad are what the Shaws are. That was hysterical, dude. Like, Demon Soul, by the way, was, I should have said Dragon Soul, because then you would have known it was Deathwing, but I was being a little mean.
I might have missed it anyway.
I'm highlighting this, and this is going everywhere. Guys... I can't even deal with it. I'm trying to be professional. So that's pretty much what we had for today. Xaryu, I want to thank you for coming and hanging out. You sat through lore, which is impressive. I love to watch the PvP guys sit through Ben's lore. It's so funny. You even nodded your head like... You nodded your head like as if you were into it, which I think was really important.
I was a little, and I know a little bit more than I did. For
those of you that are listening and watching this on YouTube, make sure you look in the description on whatever avenue you're listening or watching, and you will find out all the information on how to follow him on his stream, follow him on his Twitter. Go, make him feel awkward in his stream and ask him about his underwear. Maybe hit him up with tweets of memes of Lance Armstrong, because I feel like somebody's insulted and I don't even mind. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much. Those of you who tuned in live, we are on a different day, and I apologize. People are going to be really mad when they find out that the stream's not tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
They're going to have to be okay with it. It's going to be more than fine. But thank you for coming on the show and hanging out.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Appreciated it. And is there anything else you want to shout out, or any,
No, thanks for having me. I've been wanting to do this for a few months since we did the method video.
Yeah, we're going to, actually, you and I are going to talk after stuff in a few weeks.
So you don't have a Calvin Klein endorsement you want to throw out there?
Right, like banana hammocks or anything weird, or...
I'm still waiting for my Bangarang banana hammocks. They got their leggings. Fuck.
No Calvin endorsement. I shout out my boys in the chat, Cali Cal, Mike, Perfectus, Arhos, for hanging out.
Oh yeah, because they didn't get a shout out. Guys, you're going to be famous, okay? You're going to be famous.
The boys.
Everybody's going to know. Is this your crew? Is this like your squad?
Yeah, I think there's been like 10 of them that kind of come through the show, yeah.
Look at those nice guys. You are all such nice young men.
They're all my subscribers.
I mean, if they're friends with you, I don't know how nice they are, but I feel like they might be some kind of nice. But guys, we are going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. If you're new to the stream because Xaryu brought you, hey, how about you follow? Because like we're trying to do this Twitter thing, because apparently Twitter's where it's at, right?
I like Twitter.
Post all the GIFs and the memes.
Yeah, like I'm learning all the streamer lingo. We'll talk about that another time. We're gonna go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks so much for watching.
Laters on the Menjay.
Okay, so Lance Armstrong, I need to meme that, because that was probably the best thing ever.
I have no idea.
That is
like all of the questions I do. It seems like you're speaking a different language. I don't even know the question.
But you do stuff. You had to have like even stumbled across like at some point, maybe.
No. I never all right. When new stuff comes out, I still just queue arena. So I don't know what's happening.
You've only done PvP content because you were forced to. Why did the stream not stop?